Welcome to Season 17 of Marrow Masters, sponsored by Insight and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This season focuses on adolescents and young adults, or AYAs. They are often caught in the middle, too old for some pediatric practices, but much younger than other cancer survivors in an adult clinic. We'll be talking with a variety of speakers this season who will share their best tips, tricks, and ideas for this unique segment of the population. Our guests will offer grit, honest feedback, advice, hope, and so much more. Here's your host, Executive Director of the NBMT Link, Peggy Burkhart.
Hello, everyone. So today we have a very special episode for you. We will be talking with bone marrow and stem cell donor Kayla West of Texas, along with recipient Miley's mom, Miriam Bauer of Oklahoma. They will both share their incredible journey together. This is going to be inspiring. I'm giving you a warning. I invite you to settle in and learn about true compassion, kindness, and love. Welcome, Kayla and Miriam. It is just so wonderful to have you both with us today.
Thank you, Peggy, for having us here today.
Yeah, thank you, Peggy. Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Let's start with Kayla. So, Kayla, tell us about yourself and what inspired you to consider being a potential donor.
So my name is Kayla. I'm 36 years old. I am a wife to my husband now for 15 years. I have two kids, the ages of 18 and 13. My son just graduated a week ago. I live here in Nederland. I've been at my job at the dental office, Nederland Family Dental, for 12 years now. I stay very busy. I have 3 jobs and I have a nonprofit. And I stay also very busy with all my kids' extracurricular activities. My son's very involved in baseball, so we're constantly doing baseball things. And my daughter's heavily involved in dancing. So sometimes we're a divide and conquer group. So what inspired me to be the donor was talking to the volunteer group from DKMS that was at the Goo Goo Dolls concert that my husband and I attended several years ago. My husband had lost his childhood friend at the age of 15 to leukemia after a bone marrow transplant that didn't take. We both agreed if we were able to help potentially save the life of someone, and all it took from us was to start as a simple swab, we figured why not.
Oh, Kayla, what a great story. And I have a whole new love for the Goo Goo Dolls now. Thank you. So Miriam, tell us about your daughter, Miley, and all of the details leading up to her transplant.
Okay, I've tried to sum this up somewhat. My name is Miriam. I am Miley's mom. Miley is 16. We are from Quapaw, Oklahoma. Miley was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia at 10 years old, right before her 11th birthday. She was taken into the ER at our local hospital with a high fever and her left hip hurting. Her left hip was hurting so bad she couldn't walk. After some tests and x-rays, her labs showed that she had really high blood counts and her platelets were really low. She was transferred to St. Francis Children's in Tulsa by ambulance late Sunday evening. On Monday, February 17th, 2020, I was met by Dr. Kirkpatrick, who is a pediatric oncologist, who informed me and Miley and some other family that Miley had leukemia. He did not know what kind yet. Other tests were being ran. Later that afternoon, we met with 7 different doctors. They also informed us that we needed to pick where Miley's treatment needed to be started, and it needed to be started as soon as possible. And we decided that St. Jude has the best leukemia program in the United States. So he had already made phone calls, and they had already accepted Miley if we decided to go there. So in less than 24 hours, they had arranged transport, and an ambulance had picked us up at St. Francis, and we were on the road to St. Jude in Memphis. So we arrived in the middle of the night. Treatment for Miley was started almost immediately within walking in the doors in the middle of the night.
So Miriam, it was the beginning of COVID.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so we arrive at Memphis. We aren't even there, I want to say 2 weeks, and COVID begins. Everyone was thinking, what's happening? Well, by mid-March, the world was going in lockdown. So St. Jude went in lockdown to protect the children because, kids with cancer don't have immunity systems and their bodies can't fight off anything. So they send home everyone, like your family's protocol was changing all the time. At that point, you were only allowed to have one caregiver there. So aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmas, grandpas, siblings all went home. It was just me and Miley. And that's how it stayed for, the whole 248 days we were in Memphis. It was just me and Miley.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole time we were there. So it was lonely, but at the same time, you had to protect the kids.
You're a great mom and you did what you had to do.
Yep, you do what you have to do. So you suck it up and you sit in the hospital, and we made the best of it. Mid-March, St. Jude was basically empty. They even sent home a lot of their workers. Only necessary staff was working in the hospital. It was a crazy time, and they only returned to what they're calling St. Jude normal last year.
Really?
For the first time, my youngest son got to go on St. Jude campus and see where his sister had been. So, yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. So, we spent a lot of time inpatient. Treatment started, like I said, it started immediately when we got there. And we went straight into induction 1. By day 3, they already had her central line in, treatment rolling, biopsies going. She had a whole leukemia team. And her head oncologist was Dr. Carroll, and he came in and he informed me Miley's leukemia was high risk, meaning she would need a transplant to save her life. So at that point is when he tells me, I need you to sign these papers for her to go on the transplant list. And he explained all that to me and broke it down, what all that meant, and the difference in a bone marrow transplant and a stem cell transplant, and what gene mutations are, and an HLA matchup, and all that. So they explain all that to you, and then you get a transplant coordinator who takes care of doing all the transplant coordinating and all that. That was all within the first 2 weeks. They put Miley on the transplant list because once you're high risk, you're automatically on the transplant list. So she went on the transplant list. At that point, we focused more on her chemo at that point, and we're needing remission. So her leukemia team's focus, we have to get her to remission at that point before we can get the transplant. So the next few weeks were very rough. So we went through induction 1, and induction 1 lasted weeks. Miley was super sick after it, so we spent several weeks in the hospital. She did not get remission after induction 1, which was super bummer. She got infections after induction 1, so I think we got to spend 2 days out of the hospital after induction 1 before we went right back into the hospital, and they started induction 2.
Okay.
So we didn't get hardly any time out of the hospital, and we went straight back into induction 2. And induction 2 was the worst. Induction 2 is when she lost her hair, and we spent, it was a really long time in the hospital with induction 2. To be honest, most of our stay was inpatient. Anyways, so lots of infections. Induction 2, we went through it, survived. Fast forward, we finally got to go outpatient. Amongst all this, we're hearing from Donna, our transplant coordinator, that, our stuff has been turned in. She has no updates yet for us. We're checking in daily with the hospital because we have appointments daily.
Okay.
Day 88, we get a call late at night. It was about 10 o'clock from Dr. Carroll, head of our leukemia team, informing us that the biopsy we had the day before, that Miley was cancer-free. She'd hit remission. And he was so excited. So he wanted to call and tell us because he had just gotten the results. So yay, we're excited. She got the remission. Like, that's what we were hoping for. He would see us in clinic next day with the results. He wanted to do another biopsy to confirm it the next week. So he would talk to us the next morning. So he's like, we're not going to do induction 3. She's hit remission. I don't want to put her body through that, because with every chemo treatment, there's a risk that you might not survive it, because it's that bad. So at this point, we're doing lots of talking with Donna, our transplant coordinator. That next day, I heard from Donna, you have 3 confirmed matches. Miley's first match, she's like, is a 10 for 10 match. And I'm like, okay. She calls me back the next day and she's like, Miley's first match cannot donate. Oh. And I'm like, what do you mean? So at this point, I'm really sweating. She's like, the donor had to remove themselves from the list because something had changed in their medical status. And I'm like, what? So at this point, I'm really sweating. Like, what do you mean? Like, something's changed in their medical status. So I'm like, okay, so that leaves 2 people. The mom and you're like praying, like, please,
Sure.
You're praying like someone's got a match. So she's like, think the second one's going to be a great match. Anyway, she's working it on her end because the mother end, I have enough on my end to worry about. So I'm like, okay. But really, I'm like, please, I don't know if I can take any more. So she called me back a little bit later and she's like, it's a go. She's willing to donate. We have a donor. But then amongst all this, they said that because of COVID, they had changed how people donate. St. Jude used to like nothing but fresh donations, so they would just fly them in fresh and give them to the kids fresh. But because of COVID, they would freeze them and bring them in. So we didn't know her name at that time. They call her Donor Jude. She'd call me and be like, donor's donating today, and it's being flown into St. Jude on this date. And I'm like, okay, so we would celebrate Donor Day. This is Donor Day today. So it was just fun on our end. Miley would be like, oh, it's Donor Day. They wanted to get Miley to get the donation on July 7th. And I said, can we do it on the 8th? Because the 8th is my mom's birthday and her little brother's birthday. So then we had this big party. Our doctor's like, yeah, we can wait till the 8th. Uh-huh. So then we had this big party for my mom's birthday, her little brother's birthday, and then Kayla's donation all on the same day. So it was fun. So we had this all in a St. Jude hospital room.
Thank you, Miriam. What a story. And donor number 2, also known as Kayla, we've got some questions for you. So Kayla, you find out that you are a match for this young lady, very young lady in Oklahoma during COVID. What was going through your mind?
So initially when I got the phone call, we were all on lockdown. I was sitting in my living room, drinking a cup of coffee. I get a phone call and it comes across as DKMS. And, first I'm like, is this a scam or, whatever it may be? You never know these days.
Exactly.
So I went ahead and picked it up. Usually I don't do that. Picked it up. And on the other line was this man named Luis. He said, you are in our DKMS registry and you are potentially a match for someone in need. And I just immediately was like, no way. I was crying. I was having all the emotions. At this point, I had already kind of forgotten that I've even signed up because, when you sign up, they tell you you may get the call one day, but you may not. So they were telling me, you signed up with DKMS at a Goo Goo Dolls concert in Beaumont. I think at this point it was 3 years ago.
Huh.
I was like, oh yeah, I did do that. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, well, we have someone that is in need of a donation and you pulled up as one of 3 and we need to know if you'd be willing to take the next step. And I was like, I've only had coffee. What do I need to do? Do I need to go have blood work? I immediately was like, ready to go that day. He was like, calm down. It's okay. He said, we appreciate that you're like ready to jump on it. And I said, yeah, just let me know what I need to do. I'll do anything that I can to help that family. He was like, well, let me contact your local blood center, just get, like regular blood work and just kind of go through the steps and see like if I would be the match for her after all the blood work and scans and everything. And so I was like, okay, well, when's that going to happen? Like, do I need to go this afternoon? Like, or is that tomorrow? And he was like, well, let me call and see, just because of COVID, we have to see like when availability is, because you can't cross with people. And I was like, okay, well, just call me back as soon as you get some information. So it was maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, he calls me back and he was telling me that there was a local center here in Nederland that I could attend first thing in the morning and go start my first round of blood work. So that is what I did. So when I got that phone call, nothing really went through my mind. COVID wasn't on the brain, like nothing. I just was like, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Do I need to go where she's at? Where is she? I didn't even know it was a she. I was like, yeah, just put me wherever I need to be. I was, again, ready to go. So my husband was at work and I called him in tears and I was like, you wouldn't believe the phone call that I just got. I am a potential match to someone in need. And I know it's COVID and I know it's scary, but I can only imagine what they're going through in this time. And so I told him, I agreed to move forward. And if I ended up being the match that needed, I was going to do whatever it took to get them what they needed. And then I just continued on with, I had to do several series of blood work.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I had to go to the clinic to do blood work, I had to do a COVID test. Every time I went to the hospital to do a scan, I had to do a COVID test. So I was pretty used to those.
Yes.
But then I was also scared every time I went because I was like, I don't want to have COVID because I want to be able to donate to them and, help them get back onto the healthy track and do whatever I could. So I took all the COVID tests and just prayed that everything would be okay. I didn't communicate or, visit anybody during that time of all the testing that I was going through other than my husband and my kids, because I didn't want there to be any chance of that being an issue on why I couldn't donate. So I kind of isolated from everybody too, just so that I can stay healthy and potentially be that person's donor.
Wow. Well, zero hesitation, and boy, so unselfish to be thinking of all these things. I mean, COVID certainly just added another layer to everything that you guys went through. So Miriam, back to you. Let's talk post-transplant. Let's talk about after the transplant. How was it for Miley being a young girl, actually a teenager at that point, right? A young teen. I can't imagine what you all went through. Share with us.
Teenagers, boy, they're a blessing, aren't they?
Necessary evil.
Yes, for sure. To be honest, they've been good. Miley has her good days and her bad days. Overall, she's healthy. She does live daily with the after effects of cancer, though. So battling those daily can be rough, mentally, physically, and emotionally for her. But overall, Miley's a little fighter, so she does well. She's a little spunky thing, so...
That's not hard to believe with you as her mom.
Yeah. So I would say overall, she does all right. I mean, she's a little fighter. So
good.
Yeah.
And also, Miriam, one more on that. So you were the caregiver. What are some of your best caregiving tips for parents out there, knowing what you know now?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Good one.
Advocate for your child. Advocate. Take notes and ask questions if you're stuck in hospital. Get you a support system. family and friends. Utilize all your resources, whether it's joining support groups, use that financial assistance if you need it. Find you a therapist, social worker. I mean, hospitals have it all. So I would tell the parents to utilize it all. Like, it's there for a reason. Utilize it. Prioritize self-care. That should be at the top of your list. Like, if you can't take care of yourself, it's hard to take care of your kid.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would say be honest and open with your kid because they're the one going through it.
Great advice, Miriam. So, Kayla, I'm going to move on. What was it like to meet Miley and Miriam? And by the way, everyone, in the show notes, we are going to include a few YouTube videos that you will not soon forget that focus on the first time meeting of these incredible people. Kayla, what was it like in your words?
There really are no words. So we contacted DKMS and we were saying, hey, we're going to meet this year. Do y'all want to be a part of that? And they, of course, was like, yes, we want y'all to be at the New York Gala. Our trip to New York, my family loads up. We go to the airport. We're flying out for New York. My son, who now is 18, the pilot of the airplane is pulling Lance into the cockpit of the plane. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm sitting there and all of a sudden Lance walks down the aisle of the plane to me and he's looking at me with the captain behind him. The pilot was like, ma'am, can I get you and your family to come to the back? So I go to the back and he tells me that my son had told him why we were going to New York and that his mom was a donor to a little girl in Oklahoma and we were going to get to meet her for the first time. So he brought us to the back and he's telling me, how selfless I was and that he wanted to honor that and, that he was very excited and privileged to meet me and my family. I was just being a human and just being there for someone. I don't feel like I should be titled as a hero or anything. I was just doing what I hoped anybody would do. So they seat us back down and he tells, the girls on the plane, he's like, hey, if they want anything, you give them like their first class. We were not in first class, by the way. We were like in the back. Yeah. But he was like, give them my meal, give them whatever they want. And I was like, y'all don't have to do that. So then he comes over the announcements and, doing like the safety drill and everything. And then he made the announcement that he has someone special on board and that she was an incredibly strong person and she was headed to New York to meet someone very special to her. And then that's when he announced my name. And again, the tears just started flowing because, like I said, it's not like I really had to do a lot. It was just, if it was my kid, I would hope that someone on the other side would be like I was, like just wanting to help and not have anything hold them back, because as a mom, Miley's in the middle of my kids. So my son's 18 and my daughter's 13 and Miley's in the middle. So I, as a mom of the same age range, was just like, I can't believe that they're having to go through this during this time. Mm-hmm. After we get to New York, my family's getting to enjoy a couple of days before the big day. And we get pampered. I get hair, makeup, all the things. I'm like, this is great. So then we get to the gala, and the whole time we're in New York, they're making sure that Miley's on one side and I'm on the other side of New York. Yeah. So we're doing our thing, and then comes the day that we get to meet. And again, I'm just full of emotions. Miriam and I had been in contact ever since I think Miley met a 1-year mark, and that was when we were able to switch over information. Miriam and I started talking by email, just going back and forth, just with, daily check-ins. I was always wanting to check in on Miley, checking in on her, checking on the family and everything. So her and I agreed that We didn't really ever want to FaceTime or talk on the phone because we wanted that time that we met to be pure and authentic because we knew that we did want to meet.
Sure.
So we exchanged like Christmas gifts and, just emails and pictures and things like that. Yeah. So when we got to the gala, they first show our video, which is just will bring you to tears in a good way. So they show the video, and then I'm like looking around the room, looking for Miley, like, where's she at? And I couldn't find her. So they called Miley up to the stage, and then they announced, that I was also there. And so then they brought me also to the stage.
Wow.
Of course, when I met her on stage, I just couldn't let her go. I was just in tears, just happy to see her healthy. There, her mom, her support system behind her. It was like time stopped. I just was holding Miley by the neck, just crying. She was crying. And then they took us off the stage and they gave us our own table together so that we could interact and just kind of hang out and get to know each other, since it was the first time that we like really ever talked, met, anything. It was really pure and authentic.
Oh, great.
So then after that, they gave us a couple of days in New York to spend with the family. And you would have never thought that that was our first time to meet. Our families are so much alike. We integrated, just meshed very well. I have pictures of Lance, my oldest, and Tin Bears, Molly's little brother. He's on Lance's back. We're walking through New York. The girls are holding hands, skipping on the streets.
Wonderful.
Me and Miriam are just sitting back, just chatting. It was like we have known each other forever, but yet we had just met. So, yeah, it was very emotional. However, at the end of every night, when we would have to say goodbye, it was very hard because I didn't want to let them go. I love them. They will forever be a part of my family. Sorry, I just get so emotional over everything. But I did, and I'd cry on the tram ride back, and I was like, Eric, I don't want to let her go. I was like, I don't want to let Miley go. I don't want to let Miriam go. Like, I can't believe this is coming to an end. And so every day when we would meet up again, I'm like, Miriam, I don't want this to be the last time. And she was like, me either, girl, me either. This is not going to be, the last time. Like, we're family. We're in this together. Yeah. So after that, we just agreed to stay in contact. And, we kind of had a mutual agreement that we at least wanted to see each other once a year. And we've come to doing it at least twice a year.
Terrific.
We try to do like a summertime, and then we, met them at Christmas time this last year. And we stay in touch. Miley talks to my daughter every day.
Really?
Every day they talk.
Wow.
I'll chime in on the call, and I'm like, is that Miley? And Ashley, my daughter's like, yeah. And I'm like, tell that girl I want to tell her hi. And so she'll get on, and I'm like, hey, Miley, so.
Yeah.
And then, of course, me and Miriam, we text all the time. I'm always checking on her and everything, and just day-to-day life, and, letting them know we're here. And actually, we're going to go see them in July, actually go to their hometown.
Great.
And get to see some of their dancing and everything.
She wants to drop in on a powwow.
Yeah, I do. I was like, I want to come see what all this is about. And so Miley invited us to it. And so I'm super excited about that.
That sounds awesome. I want to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Come on.
So Miriam, tell us what that meeting in New York was like for you.
The meeting was wonderful. We totally looked forward to it. I don't even know how to put it into words. Like, meeting the lady that saves your child.
Wow.
We were super excited for it. We had looked forward to it. We'd been talking to Kayla for over a year. Miley was super excited to meet her. I was super excited to meet her. She saved Miley's life. So, I don't even know how to put it into words.
Sure.
We were just totally excited to meet her and her family.
It's almost like it was meant to be. I mean, this is incredible to me to see this relationship and this friendship and this love. It's really extraordinary.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this.
Couldn't pick a better match. Like if you have to pick someone to match with your child, because when you pray and you pray and you pray, like, Lord, let there be the perfect match for your kids. Like, here she be. Here she be, Lord.
Absolutely. So, Kayla, when we had a chance to talk, you said something that has really stuck with me.
When we spoke, I said that I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. And so what that means to me is that, of course, for Miley, if she ever needed anything, I would do it for her. You know, they did tell me, you know, as her donor, that in the event that she ever needed anything else, that I would be the first contact. And, you know, would I be okay with that? And of course, yes. So that's where it initially started, is I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. But then it led into something more. After telling people our story and explaining to them what was going on and everything, I found out that a lot of people weren't aware of what leukemia is and the whole bone marrow and the stem cells and everything. Everybody thinks that donating blood is the same thing as what leukemia patients need. And, you know, and I too also found out that that was not in fact the truth, that it's DNA based. So I got to spread the word about that. So every time I hear of someone local, or even on DKMS's websites and everything, every time I see them post a story about someone that is looking for a match, I'll always reach out and I'm like, pull me, see if I match. And they're like, Kayla, you know, you have to be 3 years with Miley and then you can be put back into the system. And I'm like, it's been 3 years. I'm like,
good for you.
If I pull from someone else, please let me know. And they're like, we just love that you're just so ready to do whatever it takes. And what that comes from is, again, being a mom. I just have to put myself in Miriam's shoes. Like, if that was me, I would hope and pray, just like she did, that there would be, you know, someone out there that would be willing to do this. And especially, again, like in COVID, you know, everybody was so scared. So you just really have to pray about it. So, yeah, I would definitely do it in a heartbeat for anyone in need. And I would do it again for Miley if she ever needed anything. You know, her and I share DNA now. She actually inherited my beautiful hair. I know she's so proud of. She used to have long, pretty black, straight hair, and now she's got my kinky, curly hair, and she doesn't know what to do with it.
Whole different head.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I'll never forget when we were in New York. Miriam actually asked me, she was like, your hair is not curly, is it? And I was like, yeah, it is. And she was like, oh no. She was like, that's where Miley got it from. She was like, we don't know what to do with it. I was like, me either, girl. Just tell her to wash it and put it up in a ponytail.
Whole different head. Like, she used to have hair way past her bottom, like before cancer. And now she's got this like kinky, curly, I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah, me either. I don't even know what to do with it. But I just straighten it every day. And we actually, our families went and stayed together. I guess last summer we went to Dallas and met them.
Yeah.
And Miley just got out of the shower and she laid in the bed with me and she was like holding her hair and she's like, look at this. Like, look at this. She was like, what do I do with this? And I'm
That's funny.
I'm like, wow, you really did get all my kiki curly hair.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So interesting.
But yes, I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat for anybody that I pulled for, just so that nobody would ever have to go through that. I guess for me, it's if I wouldn't have been in the system, Miley wouldn't be with us today. And
wow,
that's something that I'm like, I don't ever want that to be anything for anybody. And to know, like speaking with Miriam and Miley at one of our trips, Miley had made a really close friend and she didn't have a donor. And if I understand correctly, Miriam, right, that she didn't make it. And so, you know, that's
tough.
Very, very touching on the heart, because it's like, I feel like everyone should have a match. There should always be someone out there that there should not be an issue with it. I feel like everybody should have a match somehow, somewhere, some way.
And you think that until you end up in places like cancer hospitals, and then you see it happening where kids don't have matches, and you're like, wow. And then, that little girl, her mom was the 50% match, but she still didn't make it. So it was like, wow, it's crazy.
Well, I hope everyone listening, if you're of an age that you can get swabbed, I hope we can send that message out loud and clear. If Kayla hasn't inspired us all today, I don't know what else to say. That's incredible. And Kayla, I understand that you have started a nonprofit in your spare time. Tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am, I did. So after I met Miriam and Miley in New York, like I said, I didn't want to let them go. And hearing their side of the story and getting to know them left like a void in me. Like there was something still needing to be done. And so I talked to my husband and I was like, I feel like there's something more that we can do.
Sure.
Like going through the process again, I was finding things out. I was talking with families that had gone through the same thing. They didn't have a match or, anything like that. So my husband and I did a lot of thinking, a lot of praying, and we decided to come up with a nonprofit, and it's called SETX, Leukemia Organization. It's here out of Nederland, Texas. What we do is we get with DKMS, and I host events locally in our area, anywhere from my hometown, Nederland, Texas, right up to Dallas, and then to Louisiana. And I do as many events as I can. I get with DKMS, and they send me, swab kits. And so I go out and I advocate and spread the word of what leukemia is and, how you can be potentially a donor and a match to someone in need, how to sign up and, what it entails and the stories and, go from there. So my organization particularly is pretty much focused on that general area from here to Houston to Louisiana, to where we want to raise funds to help local families with the need, right when someone's getting diagnosed, they may have to quit their job or lose their job. They may not have the support system as others. The bills don't stop coming. Yes, we have great hospitals like St. Jude and Texas Children's and, those that help with the families. But everything else on the outside, that doesn't stop. And families, they have siblings, they have other members, and those people need to be taken care of too. So, our organization is to raise funds and money to help those families with groceries, bills, rent, whatever that sibling, if there's a sibling that may need something, to keep them active in their sport, whatever it may be, so that, they can still do something too, because taking care of a loved one with cancer is a full-time job. So my organization is there to help those families. Also, again, with the DKMS, sending me swabs. At every event, I will have up to 60 swab kits. And my goal is to get 60 swab kits filled. You do it yourself. It's 3 minutes. And then I seal it off and I send it in for you. And then, hopefully one day that person will get a phone call that they are potentially a match to someone in need. And, I just hope that I've inspired them to want to say yes to that question and put more people in the registry so that there is a match for someone. That's my goal. I want to match for someone every day. And I know that's a high goal to have, but it's what keeps me going. So I do have my nonprofit. I have a website. I would love for everyone to visit.
We'll share the name of the website in the show notes so everyone can check it out. And Kayla, I would love to get with you to offer up some resources from the link,
Perfect, yes.
to help you out when you go to some of the different programs. Well, thank you both for being with us today. Any final thoughts?
I would like to thank the National Bone Marrow Transplant Link for having me as a speaker today.
Well, you're welcome.
And then I too, as a final thought, please reach out to the website for my nonprofit and see our story, really learn what it's all about. Follow our links to either help out locally in our area or even request a kit take the 3 minutes of your time, swab, and be entered into the registry so that one day you too could potentially be the donor and help save a life. I would also like to thank the National Bone Marrow Transplant Link for having me as a speaker today, as well as DKMS for all the support that they've given myself, my nonprofit, and without them, we wouldn't have the registry that we had today. And we can never have too many on the registry, so please.
Well said. Well said, both of you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This has been the Marrow Masters podcast. If you know someone who would benefit from the information in our show, please share this episode with them. And don't miss future episodes of our show. Follow Marrow Masters for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening right now. And to connect with the National Bone Marrow Transplant Link, visit nbmtlink.org or tap the link in our show notes.